Welcome back guys to another sewing tutorial on this channel. Here on this channel we upload videos on sewing tutorial, pattern drafting and everything in between sewing. So guys, in today's video we're learning how to make or cut and sew a luxury bubu kaftan with pleated shoulder. If this is what you're interested in watching, please watch the video to the end. So guys, let's get started. So guys, the first thing to do is to place your fabric on a fold, more like you want to cut a 360-degree flare. So I'll place it on fold like this, and then I'll place it on another fold. Okay, so watching me, I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'll simply go ahead and take the body measurements. The first thing to do is to take your neck width measurement. I'll be working with 3.5 inches, but if you want a higher lapel collar, you can go ahead and mark 2.5 inches. So between 2.5 inches to 3.5 inches is fair enough. For the neck depth, I'll be working with 1.5 inches for the back neck depth. So I'll go ahead and use a free hand to draft my neckline like so. Okay, so I'll simply go ahead and also mark my front neck depth. I'll be working with 8.5 inches, and from this point I'll move in by 1 inches and link it to the neck width measurement, which is 3.5 inches. So guys, having done this, I'll simply go ahead and place my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement is 7.5 inches. From this point, I'll be going in by 2 inches simply because I don't want my pleated shoulder to be directly on my shoulder. So I'll move in by 2 inches for my shoulder pleat. For if you're working with a softer fabric or a silky fabric, you can place it on your direct shoulder measurement. So from that point, I'll be marking 6 inches, which is from where I want to place my pleats. I'll be marking 6 inches, and then I'll transfer the 2 inches to the other side. So this is exactly where I want to place my shoulder pleats, and then I'll be utilizing the remaining part of the fabric. Okay. So remember that I said from my shoulder measurement I went in by 2 inches, and from that point my pleat allowance is 6 inches. So guys, from the shoulder line I'll go ahead and take my vertical measurement, which is my waistline, my hip line and the knee line. Okay, so note guys that this fabric for this particular dress illustration, there won't be any shoulder seam. As you can see that the fabric is just on fold. We didn't separate the front from the back. Okay, so we'll be drafting more like a cut together with the shoulder. Okay, so I'll simply go ahead and draft my sleeve opening. I'll be working with 11.5 inches for the sleeve opening, and from that point I'll go in by 3.5 inches. Okay, so I'll go ahead and draw a line. Then the next thing I'll simply do is to mark the quarter of my hip circumference. On the hip line, I'll mark the quarter of my hip circumference plus 4 inches allowance and then 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I'll simply go ahead and transfer the measurement I have on my hip line to the hemline, and then I'll use my straight rule to link the 2 points together. So guys, the next thing to do is to draft the bat wing. I'll be drafting my bat wing from my knee line, linking it into the armhole. And at this point, I'll go ahead and eliminate the sharp points around the armhole. You can also choose to draft your bat wing from your waistline or your hip line, depending on what works for you. So having done this, I'll go ahead and cut out the pattern, but I'm going to be cutting out the back pattern first. And after cutting out the back pattern, I'll go ahead and cut out the front pattern, the front neckline precisely. So guys, after cutting out the back pattern or the pattern with the back neckline, I'll go ahead and notch the center front, the center back point. I'll notch it. It's going to act as a guide for me, especially when I'm placing my lapel collar. Okay, so what I'm doing right here is joining the shoulder points together. I'm going to be securing these 2 points with my pin. So this will enable me to cut out the front neckline with ease. Okay, so I'm going to open it up this way, and simply place only the front pattern on fold. I'm separating the front from the back, and I'm placing only the front pattern on fold. Remember that I joined the 2 points of the shoulder together for around the neck region. So I'll simply go ahead and cut out my front pattern, having done this. Okay, so I'll simply go ahead and place the fabric this way, and then mark 1 inch allowance from that point. Okay, from the center front, I'm going to be marking 1 inch allowance up to the neck depth of the front pattern. Then I'll use my meter rule to link the points together, and then use my scissors to cut it out. Okay. So guys, I'll go ahead and remove the pin I placed around the neck region and open up the fabric properly. I'll ensure that both the front and the back is properly opened, and then I'll go ahead and highlight my shoulder line around my neckline area. So I will highlight it. Okay, so this will act like a guide for me. Okay, so guys, remember that while drafting the pattern, I marked X exactly where I want to place my pleat. And if you can remember that, I made it clear that I won't be placing my pleats directly on my shoulder. I went inwards by 2 inches. So I used my measuring tape to measure my neckline to that point I marked S, and then I'll transfer the measurements to the other side. Okay, and then from that point I'm going to be marking my waist measurement. I meant to say my waist measurement is 18 inches, and then I also mark 18 inches on the other side. And then I'm going to be using my meter rule to mark the 6 inches for the pleats allowance. From that point, the midpoint of that 6 inches is 3 inches. Okay, so that's where I'll be creating a line. Okay, I'm going to be drawing a line from that midpoint, which is the midpoint of 6 inches. I'm going to join a line down to the waist measurement. Okay, so I'll also do the same for the other side as well. I'm going to be marking 6 inches, and then the midpoint of 6 inches is 3 inches. From that point, I'm going to be drawing a straight line down to the waistline. Okay, I'll simply do the same for the back as well. For the back, I'm going to also be drawing a straight line down to 18 inches. Remember that the front is 18 inches. So from that point, I'm going to be marking 18 inches for the back as well for both sides. And then I also draw a straight line. So guys, after doing this, I'm going to take this, okay, I'm trying to ascertain the total measurement from the front to the back. So it should be around 36 inches, because we have 18 in front and then 18 at the back, I meant to say. So I'm going to be placing this on fold, and then I'll secure it with my pins. Okay, so after securing this, I'll take it to my sewing machine. Oh, sorry, I'm going to take it to my ironing board and then create a crease line, more like give it a very good press. I'll use my steam iron to create a crease line on that line. Okay, the line I drew from back to front, I'm going to create a crease line, and have in mind that the pleat is going to be 3 inches inwards. So when I create the crease line, I'm going to be stitching 3 inches inwards. I don't know if I'm making sense, so I'll take it again. The line is 36 inches, which is 18 inches in front and 18 inches at the back. I'm placing it on fold. I'll give it a very good press with my steam iron to create a crease line. and then I'm going to be stitching it by 3 inches. The pleat allowance is 6 inches, the midpoint is 3, so on both sides we should be utilizing 3 inches. Okay, if your pleat allowance is 5, then have in mind that you'll be utilizing 2.5 inches. Okay, so I've done that. I've given it a very good press to create that crease line, and then I've stitched it by 3 inches, and then I've relaxed the pleat. So this is what we have, and you can see how neat it's looking. So ensure that you use a very a steam iron. I meant to say, ensure that you use a steam iron to relax your pleat. Okay. So guys, the next thing to simply do is to place your lapel collar, and to do this you take an accurate measurement of your total neck measurement down to the hemline. So for my center back neckline, I'm going to be using my measuring tape to take the measurements down to my hemline. So at this point I got 61 inches, so I'm going to be adding between 3 to 4 inches to the total measurement, and then I'll multiply it by 2. So have in mind that my measurement is from the center back on one side, so for both sides you multiply it by 2 to get your total measurement. Okay, so for the lapel I'll be using this fabric, which is a doll face satin fabric. I'll place it on fold like this. Then the width of this band is 5 inches, and the total measurement is around 130 inches. Okay, so I had to join the fabric at some point because it wasn't enough. I didn't have enough fabric to cover for 130 inches. Okay, so around the center back there's a joining there. Okay, the center back neckline is a joining there. So from that center back I'm going to be having my neck opening by 9 inches, and then the slit opening should be around 40 inches. So at this point I'll mark the midpoint, and then I'll draw a straight line. I'm going to be stitching on this straight line. I'll take it to my sewing machine, and then I'll stitch on this neckline. Okay. Okay, so guys, I've done the stitching, so I'll go ahead and open it up like so. Okay, and when you're folding, ensure that you fold on the right sides facing each other and stitch on the wrong side. So I'll open this up, and then I'll give it a good press like so. So I've given it a good press, and I simply realized that the neck opening of 9 inches is very small. Okay, it couldn't pass it couldn't go through my head, so I had to extend it to 12.5. That was really small. It couldn't pass. It couldn't. I tried passing it around my head, so it couldn't pass. So I'll try from that point. I'm going to be measuring 12.5 inches. I believe that 12.5 inches should give me what I want. Between 12 to, depending on your measure, I think it's best to take the measurement before determining the opening. Okay, so I did 12.5, and 12.5 was just good for me. So I'll use my seam ripper to open this up, and then I'll do a back stitch. I will ensure that I take it to my sewing machine and do a back stitch to secure the stitch so that it won't just start loosening at that point. So do a back stitch around that area to secure your stitch. Okay, so have in mind that from my center back to the neck depth is 12.5, no longer 9 inches. So I'm going to secure it with a pin. I'll secure the center back with a pin, and then secure one side. You can see that I have a pin. From my center back, I secured one side. I'm going to be stitching one side first. So this is the right side of the fabric. I'm going to be stitching one side down to the hemline. Please make sure you work with your pins. It will help you. So after stitching one side, I turned it to the wrong side, and then I secured the other side with my pin. I'll take this to my sewing machine, and then I'll stitch it. Okay, so guys, we're good here. The next thing to do is to cut out the belt. For the belt, I'll be working with 5 inches by 25 inches length. The width is 5 inches, and the length of this belt is 28 inches. Okay, so I've been able to stitch one side of the belt, close up one end and left the other end open. The open part is where I'll be attaching to the bubu. So it's meant to be placed this way, but on the wrong side. This is the right side, so I'm going to be placing this way on the wrong side. Okay, so this is one belt, one part of the belt. I'm going to open one part of the bubu, which is the front part, and I'll place it directly on where I have my pleat, pleat lines, or the pleat seam, or the pleat thread. I don't know, whatever I'll use for it. So I'll secure that part with a pin, and secure this other part. I'll stabilize it on this other side like so. So I'm going to be opening this pleat and run my stitch directly on the thread. Okay, so it's going to be something you do carefully. I also did the same thing for the other side. I didn't want the tutorial to be too long or boring, showing you guys repeatedly what I did. So I trimmed out the excess lapel around the hemline. So what I'll simply do next is to close up the sides. Okay, so I'll go ahead and place it right sides facing each other. Ensure that you work with your pins tool at this point to give you what you actually want. After stitching the sides, I'll go ahead and turn up my sleeve and the hemline as well. Okay, so guys, this is the end result of and pleated shoulder tight waist bubu kaftan with slits opening. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a blessed day.